Hello there, Will here. Just wanted to hop on real quick before the episode with Nerdy Brent, which is a great episode, by the way. Grayson and I had a phenomenal time talking to Brent. He's a great Star Wars creator, and he's a great Star Wars fan. We got into a lot of topics, Andor, Skeleton Crew, the Acolyte. We talked about lightsabers, which, if you know Brent's content, makes a lot of sense. I wanted to get on here and just say thank you for listening. Determined Focus has been through a lot of iterations. Originally, we did the scene breakdowns, and then we just started the live shows, and now we're going to do this interview series, which of the interview series, this will be the first official pre-recorded episode. Like I said, there's been a lot of iterations of what this show currently is and what we are turning this show into. For all of us Star Wars fans, talking about Star Wars is something that isn't hard for us to do. You can get us to talk about Star Wars in literally any situation. More often than not, I'm wearing a Star Wars t-shirt in line at the grocery store, and somebody will say something to me about what new Star Wars show is coming out, or hey, did you see the news about this? And talking about Star Wars is my favorite thing in the world. So I truly appreciate all of you who are taking the time to listen to that. I would be remarkably remiss if I did not thank Grayson for signing on to do all of these episodes and this podcast with me. Finding someone to tolerate your incessant yapping about Star Wars or literally any topic is hard to do, so I appreciate Grayson for signing on to do this podcast with me. Truly would not be able to do this without him, and the podcast is better for having him on it. Also, like I said, thank you to all of you for listening and watching all of these videos, whether it's a short form video on Instagram or a TikTok, or a long-form, hour-long conversation about whatever we happen to be yapping about at that time. This interview series will be ongoing. We've got a ton of really cool guests I am so stoked to talk to, and I know Grayson is stoked to talk to as well. Like a lot of people, Star Wars has helped me get out of the deepest of ruts and keep me going. So thank you to all of you who are at home watching and supporting, because this would not be possible without all of you either. Outside of the most valuable part of your support, your view, if you would like to like the video or subscribe, that would be awesome. If you'd like to monetarily support the show, you can buy some merch down in the description below, where you can get a hat or shirts and a bunch of other stuff just like this. And if you haven't already, go follow Grayson on Instagram at MortisFM. We're trying to get those numbers up, baby, so go follow the kid. Okay, enough from me. May the Force be with you. Your focus determines your reality. And truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening.
Always remember.
Gentlemen, welcome to Determined Focus. We have a very special guest, technically the first ever guest on this version of Determined Focus. We have Brent here, aka Nerdy Brent. Brent, we are so excited to have you here. Why don't you start off with plugging your Instagram, your YouTube, because you've been posting YouTube videos pretty recently as well.
Well, sounds good. I'm so glad to be here. So stoked about it, guys. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm not one to toot my own horn. Okay, so it's a little uncomfortable. Okay, yeah, I'm on Instagram mostly. It's my main. That's my active. It's Nerdy Brent. Like you said. And yeah, I've been starting to get more active on YouTube. I've had that for a bit. But on I think there was like an Andor live, right, where we had Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna, and they were doing like a little live Q&A stuff on there recently before the finale of season 2 of Andor. And I'm just chatting up, in the chat, and I was like, seems like these YouTube creators actually get watched by these directors, and so I should probably start doing YouTube stuff. And then Swagman had replied to that, says, "It's about dang time, Brent." So I'm sitting here like, I guess I have to. So
yeah.
I'll be active on there, and yeah, it's just a fun time. I'm glad to be here and can't wait to chat.
Hey Brent, you know what a blind ranking is, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to give you some options. Once you put something in a number, it stays.
I'm going to keep track of these for you, by the way.
Okay, thank you. These are going to be all Star Wars live action Disney Plus series.
Okay.
We're just going to go through them. You get to put them in order. Okay. Number 1, just because it's top of mind, Skeleton Crew.
I would put that as number 2.
Number 2. We're crossing 2 off the bat. Okay. Ahsoka.
1 out of the right there.
Dude, a man after my own heart. Oh my goodness.
You guys are the same person. That's crazy.
Okay. Let's go the Acolyte.
3.
Okay. Okay. Andor.
4.
Wow. And then that makes The Mandalorian your 5 spot.
Yeah, I'd put that there.
Okay. Is that cool? Are you happy with that?
I'm super satisfied with that order. Yeah, I mean,
That's
Ahsoka has my
crazy.
heart. Like I am a Rebels through and through, like Rebels fan. I love Star Wars Rebels, and so
Let's
this just is the
go.
continuation of Rebels, you know. And
Yeah.
I love the entire thing of it, and I do love Mandalorian. Don't get me wrong, but I loved Acolyte more. I've loved Skeleton Crew more. I loved Andor more. I still love Mandalorian. I'm gonna cosplay him, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah, I'm satisfied with my purchase.
Yeah. I mean,
know?
I will say my favorite episode of The Mandalorian is Ahsoka's episode in season 2.
Yeah, I mean the backdoor pilot. No,
Yeah.
dude, like I'm not someone. Will and I are not people at all to be like mad at anybody's takes because I think that's
No.
just
Yeah.
a ridiculous
It's
sentiment.
personal.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, they're all of these have such merits of their
Yeah.
of their own liking, you know. And like, I was talking to someone today. He was like, all right, like, listen, I know you're like the Star Wars guy, you know. He's like, but I think I'm
Big title.
finally gonna, yeah, no, I'm the resident guy at my church. And I was like, and I was like, okay. And he's like, I think I wanna like finally like kind of dive into the new stuff. I've kind of dipped off for a while. And he was like, and I think I'm gonna
Bold.
start with Andor. And I was like, do it, man. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like, who am I? I'm like, yes. But then I was like, however, I was like, Andor is a very different type of Star Wars. I was like, it might be a little jarring to you because it is very much boots on the ground, the little guy, you know. I was like, if you want something a little bit more traditional Star Wars, you know, lightsabers, pew pew pew, Ahsoka. I was like, watch Ahsoka, which I think is kind of the very beauty of Star Wars, which Will and I always talk about, is like how you can have like literally all 5 of these shows completely different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like-
there's super like the galaxy is so big and so vast. Why would you want to contain it into the same
Yep.
specific storyline? Like there's everything.
Yeah. And Star Wars is so big as well that like it makes sense for different directors and different writers to not only have their own perspectives, but to have differing perspectives on the same galaxy. It makes everything so much more fun. Obviously, I love the original trilogy for what George did.
Yeah.
But even the Clone Wars was George's as well. And even from the Clone Wars to the prequels to the original trilogy, all of it feels different. And there's a reason
yeah.
for that. And us as Star Wars fans, at least from my perspective, and I know Grayson feels the exact same way, there's a benefit for having different stories within Star Wars. It's bigger. Hey, I told Grayson I was going to hit a button for every time I mentioned Sam Witwer interview, but there's a Sam Witwer interview where he's talking about how Star Wars is basically its own genre at this point. There's so many genres that live inside of Star Wars. So you can get, I mean, we experienced it, 2 weeks ago, where we got Tales of the Underworld and Andor at the exact same time. Two tonally extremely different shows, but in my opinion, both fantastic Star Wars. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Sam, if you're watching this, we love you.
That's the GOAT.
Love in all bold, all uppercase, big all underline, exclamation point.
Okay, Brent, since we talked about it, it was your, Grayson, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Brent's number 4 was Andor?
Correct.
Okay. We are days away from the finale of Andor season 2.
On the
Brent.
other side of it, not in
Yeah, we're days away, days past.
beyond.
We are Sam Witwer's days gone from from the finale of Andor season 2. Brent, just initial thoughts.
Season 2 really, I mean, the emotional wreckage that it has caused is tremendous. I think, you know, Tony Gilroy, for the man that he is, I applaud his. I'm even tearing up right now. It's just the storyline. It is so emotionally engaging. Because you relate to people. Like nowadays we're seeing lots of the same themes in our own little lives, and for us we can relate a lot of these characters. And for Bix and Cassian specifically, that I've been married for 6 years, and the scene and close to the end of that last arc where Bix chooses the rebellion for Cassian, right? And she's gone, and Cassian's like running out to the docking bay trying to get his love back. I'm like, I was wrecked. I was wrecked because like I have such deep love for my wife, and the thought of having to leave her or her leaving me for the greater cause just wrecks. I cannot survive without her. So that right there, whew. And then also obviously having a kid. that last little bit, that last scene when we're back and just see Bix and little baby, I was like, this is war. This is Star Wars. This is real. And so this season was cinematic, emotionally engaging, and just phenomenal. Top from end to the beginning to start. So I loved it.
You're
Yeah.
100% right, dude. It was season 1 of Andor took a little while to grow on me. I know Tony Gilroy has said it in some interviews as well, of like people referring to it as a slow burn, which I felt like it was. And there were a lot of times where when Andor season 1 was at its best, it was some of the best Star Wars of all time. I loved season 1, and every time I go back to it, I love season 1, but I think I love season 1 more because of season 2.
Mhm.
And it's the same way why I love Rogue One more, and it's the same way why I love A New Hope more. We were talking about it last week. Every new iteration of Star Wars that gets added makes every Star Wars piece before it so much better, even if it has
yeah,
nothing to do with it.
absolutely agree. I tweeted today. I was tweeting like, Andor has really started this unintentional Star Wars marathon for me. Like, going from the Andor, going into Rogue One, then to New Hope, and then I'm like, well, I might as well just keep going.
Yeah.
So I'm just running. So yeah, I think you're right though. Top, it just keeps adding.
Dude,
Yeah.
one of the best moments, because especially with the stingers in the last like 4 episodes of season 2, with Bix and of course Cassian's son that he doesn't know about. I want to say it might be my favorite scene in the show, or at least one of, and it really is right there at the very end, is when he is walking to the U-Wing and it plays this track. It's called Past, Present, Future. Shout out Ashton Sherritt. I already know you're dissecting that track. Which that track
Yeah,
plays
Ashton.
originally from the end of the 3rd episode of season 1. But all I could think of is, and they have that conversation right before Vel and Cassian do, about all the people along the way. And it's just like, dude, like there are so many characters, but immediately the one that I thought it was Marva. And I was like, Marva would be so proud, which honestly, huge parallel to Galen and Jin of when Cassian is like, your father would be proud. It's the same thing of like, because now we have, we didn't have that backstory with Cassian, right? And to be honest, Cassian was always one of the most intriguing characters to me in Rogue One. Just from that single line of like, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old, and realizing it's not as like, no, he wasn't like a child soldier, but like he's been in this progressive fight against this empire even before it was fully the empire for literally his entire life, to the point where like it was the driving force to help find his sister and all of these things. And it's like, Star Wars is so family oriented.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like dude, the scene, weirdly, it's the scene at the end when he is running after Bix, and then when he's walking to the U-Wing, is also kind of a beautiful symmetry of like, one is like this desperation of like longing, and the other is like this confidence of like, I am fully immersed in what I need to do. And Will, I know we haven't talked about it quite yet, but that single moment where he just looks over and he sees the Force healer and just gives the subtlest nod. She's just looking at him and she immediately knows like there's something. Yeah, this is it.
It's his. He finally believes in it, and I guarantee you there was some sort of anger towards her when Bix left because of that whole conversation. How immediately after Bix left from the Force healer and Cassian being, I don't believe in the, ancient weapons and hokey religions, the Han Solo of it all, of him not believing in what she was doing, and then seeing his blaster, the bruise heal, and then Bix leaving for all of this. He's looking at it like there's no way this is worth it. And then, like you were saying, Grayson, how he's sprinting towards her, but now it's that slow progression, that slow walk, and everything in slow motion of like Melshi with the group running, training, going the other direction. Just how everybody is the rebellion is a unit at this point, and they are all working for the same thing. And I think one of the coolest parts about Andor, which some people might say hindered a little bit of the growth of the rebellion based on the gaps in the arcs. I know I was listening to some reviews talking about how some of the gaps, especially towards the end when they were starting to see Yavin a little bit more, wishing that they had seen the rebellion growing in that way. But I think this show thrived in the space between, where everything that you did not see, it made everything so much deeper, and it made the whole bigger for all of that emotion to seep in. It was truly filling your cup. Do you have, Brent, a favorite episode from season 2?
I really like when we have K2SO coming into the play, and as scary as it was, that hallway scene with K2SO.
Dude,
That was
he's
like
bulletproof,
whoa.
and he still used that guy as a shield.
I was like, that was haunting. This is like Five Nights at Freddy's right here, but with K2SO. I was like, that whole thing. That was a really good episode for me. I liked that.
It's crazy watching that and knowing that there was a full K2SO episode that was being worked out, where it was going to be like a monster movie horror thing that Tony Gilroy was working on in that
slice of that.
Yeah, and we got that little, and dude, you knew that he wanted it too, because if he left that in for that whole thing, it's so funny. Luke Skywalker, Vader, you could even throw Maul in there from Clone Wars season 7, and K2SO have the best hallway scenes.
Those hallway
in Star Wars.
scenes. I think my buddy Luke posted about that too, and I was like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I commented on that and I was like, dude, I'm cooked. I'm not even making it past a gonk droid. Are you kidding me? I'm trying to who I'm surviving against any of those? No way.
And it's so funny because then you watch A New Hope and then like the hallway scene on the Tantive 4, you know, and then C-3PO and R2 are like scooting across the hallway. And, like,
Yeah.
they're not surviving that.
Yeah. No, dude. Especially with Vader right on the other side of that door.
Oh,
yeah. No, season 2 is
and the cast
extremely good.
I think
dude.
the cast, we've seen so much of the charisma behind the scenes in some of these things that Star Wars have been posting. They're a family. The whole thing is a family. It was beautiful.
Who is your favorite character in the show?
Oh, shoot, man. It's really tough. They all have such dynamic characters, but my immediate gut reaction was Bix. You know, she was just trying to on Ferrix, right? She was just trying to make her living and trying to do good, and then had endured a very traumatic event, and then ultimately kept choosing the greater good. And I can respect that so much, and I think she's grown, and she's going to be a great mom. I know it.
Yeah, even if we never see more of her character, like I'm not going to call him out, but I got into a little bit of an argument with my friend the other day because he was like, Bix didn't do anything this whole season, and I was like, did we watch the same show? Did we watch Andor season 2? I don't know, because I'm like, there is so much real gravity to what she goes through. I mean, she got absolutely screwed by the Empire.
Yeah.
And then is like, I mean, the straight up the PTSD from what she went through, and then goes through yet another traumatic event to the and we're like, it's these layering, and then she still continues to be this rock for Cassian. And of course, like you said, your favorite moment, like when she is choosing the hard decision of knowing that Cassian will never be fully devoted to the rebellion unless I go.
Yep.
And especially knowing, you know, of course, that's not obvious at that point, but that he's definitely not going to be there for the rebellion if she has a baby, you know.
Oh no.
And
for
so
sure.
and it's not out of a place of not wanting to be with him. It's out of a place of knowing that he is necessary for, I mean, and truly he is, like, and that's the beautiful thing about like Force and Destiny in Star Wars, is it doesn't take a guy with a lightsaber and the Force. It can sometimes just be one kid who was picked off of a backwater planet and raised by a mom who was a rebel, and then later on it's
if I had a second, that would be Leia.
Oh my gosh,
her episodes at the end, and even just her as an actress, like that
That's
this
her
is her
first
first gig.
Yeah.
easy.
She's incredible. That whole, I loved how much we got of her in the last arc. Like, so how much of the focus was on her and how much of the focus was on Luthen. And Grayson, you bring up the point about Cassian being picked off by Marva, and it just kind of this like found family thing. It's exactly what happened to Luthen and Clea. Like, just you find a child and you give them the opportunity to run their rebellion the way they want to, and you give them all the tools they need to make what they want right with the world. And they both had such an incredible part in the rebellion. I know Rogue One, everybody's like, well, we all know what's going to happen because all the characters die in Rogue One. There are so many loose ends with the end of Andor season 2. I know the actress who plays Dedra, she came out and she was like, no, that's it. That's all you're gonna. She's stuck in prison. Like, you're never gonna see Dedra again. Like, that's it. But like,
low key, she deserves it. But it's okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it's crazy. I was who was I talking? Was I talking to this about you, Grayson? Of like how incredible the storytelling was and how the character writing was so great that even the entire time you hate Dedra, and then in that final moment where you see her in prison, you're like, oh man, I feel bad for her. Yeah, insane.
There's always a bigger fish, and she was not the biggest fish.
No, she was not the bigger fish.
Yeah,
nope, wasn't her. Wasn't Partagaz, and honestly, it wasn't even Krennic.
Dude,
nope.
The
You
moment
keep going
with
up.
the moment with Partagaz, insane.
I
Oh,
didn't see
yeah.
that coming, like, at all. I was like, whoa, oh.
Yeah, like, and it makes so much more sense after seeing the stinger with Dedra of like, oh, he's done, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he knows like what's coming for him, and like that it's everything they've worked for is about to get thrown out the window. Like, it truly is the bigger fish analogy of like it's all gonna come back on him as well. It's crazy. It also, one of my favorite little stingers at the end, I'm sure you all agree, is getting that little scene of Perrin on Coruscant.
Yeah.
where
Was that with the
the wife
in-laws?
of Davos Skolden.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that and I was like, that's such an interesting character choice to show. I'd be really curious to see what happened to Leda as well, especially like post Return of the Jedi, because obviously Mon Mothma shows up in Ahsoka, which really hoping she shows up in Ahsoka season 2, especially with after all of this in Andor. Like, because dude, Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. Oh my gosh,
she's so
man.
good.
She's incredible.
And what a character to finally get development on. Like, I love that so much.
She's so good, dude. And it was honestly kind of refreshing. Like, yes, there were certain characters that I think their fates were maybe sealed, or we weren't exactly sure what was going to happen to it. But it was nice that it's like, oh, well, not everybody dies.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
There's a good majority of them that we don't see their ending going into Rogue One, and then we don't even see in Rogue One, so we have no idea.
And I joked around with my friends. I'm like, you know what? I'm in a full hope. I'm like, I'm in Delulu land right now. I'm gonna believe that Ezra Bridger's in the world between worlds and just snatches Jyn and Cassian right before the thing hits them.
put him in get in line, Ben Solo.
They're
'cause,
fine.
Dude.
Man. That was the original draft, was going to have them live. They were going to do Will, you are the shadows of the Empire head over here. They were going to pull a Dash Rendar.
Yeah.
Where on the original script they were like, no, I think it's better if they maybe though.
Go boom.
Maybe.
It's funny you bring up Genevieve O'Reilly and Ahsoka. I really think it would be strange to not see her because of that comment from Dave at Celebration saying that there's going to be a war in our stars, of how much of a battle there is going to be in the first half, is what it sounds like, of Ahsoka season 2.
Yeah.
So and she's a big part of it, and obviously they show Akbar. So I think yeah.
Sorry.
And as
impulsive.
Thrawn, it's literally like what would you call it? It's not what is the Star Wars version of Pavlov's dog? Is it just Jedi's Akbar?
Yeah.
Just like it's just like as soon as you see him, you're like, say it. Yeah.
Don't do it.
I would love to see, especially like Will and I are very big fans of the EU Thrawn trilogy, and Mon Mothma and Akbar and all of them are like really part of the thing. So it'd be really sick.
Dude, after the speech that we saw of Mon Mothma and everything that she does throughout both of those seasons of Andor, to see her go face to face with Thrawn and kind of have like or just like the scene she did with Krennic in the art gallery of her versus Thrawn in that same way she did with Krennic. Oh my gosh.
Thrawn would eat that up. 'cause he's
dude.
an artist,
he
you know?
would.
Oh!
Yeah.
Thrawn.
Oh man.
I think. Well, I think you've also got to sow the seeds a little bit of like why the New Republic fails. I mean, technically, okay. You really got to think about it, although we don't really see it. The New Republic does reign longer than the Empire did.
Yeah.
30 years. So
Yep.
it's pretty good. Empire's only 20 years. So take that, Empire.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's like, I think you definitely, and what we saw in Mando Season 3, and obviously building up to Ahsoka, like, Imperial Shadow Council is out there. First Order is growing slowly but surely. So to have a moment of, like, tactical prowess and genius and also, like, demoralization from Thrawn's front into the New Republic would be very cool. I mean, like, one of the big plot points in the Thrawn trilogy is Akbar getting like temporarily like court-martialed essentially because they think he like commits this like bank fraud and stuff. But it'd be interesting if that was Mon Mothma. If they were like, if people, it's like a vote of no confidence like in the prequels, and it's but it of Mon Mothma, and it being like this really big like after all she fought for, this is how she's treated because of Thrawn. Like that'd be really. That connective tissue would be really cool. I don't know if she's confirmed, but I know Genevieve would come back if said. And they're filming right now as we speak.
Yeah.
So,
She lives in the UK. She's over there.
yeah.
It's fine.
It's a quick flight. You can just pop in for a day, record some stuff.
One thing actually I really want to talk about because I've been kind of itching to talk with Brent about this, and I want to hear his thoughts. Because we are coming up on a year of The Acolyte, a show that kind of just blew up the Star Wars fandom, however you want to chop it up. I'm a big fan of The Acolyte, okay? It sounds like you are too, Brent. What struck a chord with you with The Acolyte? Like, why? Because you currently, on the blind ranking, it's number 3. So I want to hear some of your thoughts on Acolyte.
I thought it was a great show. I mean, some lines are a little weird, right? But that's, it's whatever. But I was a huge High Republic nerd and fan, and so finally get some High Republic content was phenomenal. I loved it. And just the storyline, I thought the storyline went really well, and I was eating up and obsessing over every cinematic duel and like choreography. Out of this world. And the character, like, it gave like thriller vibes, like almost like a thriller kind of storyline with all of the secret chimere, the stranger, who is this person, and what a character right there in and of itself, because we haven't really had a Dark Force user like him before, where you actually kind of like love the guy, like, whoa. And just like the saber is super unique, the whole cortosis conversation, getting some Plagueis action. I think they threw so many awesome like tidbits to make this such an intriguing show, and I don't get the hate. I don't get the hate, and I will let people have their opinions. And ultimately, that just falls on human error on our end as people, right? Like just letting the internet get the best of us, and that's a whole thing. But in and of itself, I thought The Acolyte was a really well done show, and was a great addition to the Star Wars universe. It's something before the prequels, and it was great.
I'm right there with you. I obviously like to say that everything in Star Wars is perfection. Like as much as I glaze Andor, there's things that like there's little critiques here and there, but it doesn't deter from my enjoyment. And yeah, I'm not gonna say like Acolyte is the greatest thing of all time. Like everybody has their preferences in Star Wars, but like it's a really entertaining show.
I had fun watching it, and that's
yeah. Like it's really good. And I'm such a Chimere simp, dude.
Oh,
like,
you know me. I have the helmet. I've got the cosplay. I've got this.
He's got the biceps to show for it.
Grayson and I are planning on seeing him at Fan Expo Denver here in a little bit.
Dude,
So,
I forgot about that. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yes. Tell him hi.
Yep. We'll bring a picture of Brent with us that he can hold, and it'll just be
bring a cardboard cutout of me.
Yeah. Dude, The Acolyte is, like you said, Brent. It was entertaining. It was fun, and there were so many beautiful and well done nods to what some of my favorite parts of Star Wars are in other Star Wars projects and other media. My favorite Star Wars project of all time is Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Is The Acolyte better than Return of the Jedi? For me, No, but I don't think there's anything in Star Wars that's better than Return of the Jedi because it's my favorite. And when I go into a project, that doesn't mean that I'm going to say, oh, it'll never beat Return of the Jedi. No, I want every Star Wars project that comes out to be better than Return of the Jedi. I want every Star Wars project to be my new favorite Star Wars of all time. And honestly, look, there's that clip from Dave at Star Wars Celebration where he's talking about, he's like, I don't really have, he's like, I like all of it. I like the fans. The fans, all of the fans are all fans of Star Wars. And just like Timothy San said, everything in Star Wars is somebody's favorite thing. And truly, dude, the Acolyte is so much fun. I will continue to say, much like I would love Solo season or Solo 2 or a sequel to Solo, Acolyte should get a second season. Those characters are too much fun not to see in something else. I know a lot of them died at the hands of Khmer, but hey, I'd love to see the guy who killed him in something
I would
else.
at his hands gladly. He's a
Yep.
great guy.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
That's
It's
funny
also-
that you bring that up too, Brent, of like he's a character that you like love, even though like other than like a Maul who you're still like, oh, he's doing evil things. Khmer is somebody who's a Sith, right? But you can almost kind of understand his point of view.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good, man. I cannot wait to meet Manny Jacinto, dude.
Yeah,
He's
dude.
gonna be. Can't wait. I love it.
Yeah, I'm glad you appreciate the Acolyte as well, Brent. And it's like I've been kind of getting like nostalgic as well because like we are coming up on a year, and it was just like such a, to me, was such like a summer phenomenon. I don't know, like
Mhm.
yes, like the negativity online like really did get to me, and that again, like you said, comes down to human error and people just like kind of not really understanding that like there's people behind the screens, you know. But like just watching week after week, and especially man, like when episode 5 just came out swinging, literally. I was in California when it dropped, visiting Disneyland for the first time the very next day. And I was just like on cloud 9, dude. Like I was just like, this is what Star Wars is about, man. You know, like and then yeah, like I'm getting on a soapbox, but then like walking into, listen, I'm gonna be on like a mini tirade here. I know you are closer to the Disneyland spectrum. Disneyland Galaxy's Edge is just better. I'm an East Coaster. Y'all got Luke Skywalker now. Y'all got Ahsoka. Y'all got Boba Fett. Like I watched Boba Fett.
Star Wars nights, like
yeah. Oh man, it's a blast, dude. I will be there next year. It's gonna happen.
Great.
But yeah, dude, it's cool. I'm glad you shared the same sentiment.
We'd be good friends. We make good friends. We just hang out sometime. We're like-minded people.
yeah. You're only like halfway across the country, but
No big deal.
we'll make it work. Hey, Celebration 2027, Star Wars Nights next year. Something. Hey, you should pull up to Rebel Scum Con. August 8th through the 10th, Texas.
If you're not busy, there's a lot of cool Star Wars stuff happening.
I'll try and get Neo Saber to send me out there or something. Like I gotta make a way.
Yeah, man, we'd love to have you there, dude. There's like gonna be a ton of great people. It's like, especially for you. You didn't go to Celebration this year, did you not?
No,
me neither.
Yeah,
we all didn't, but it's okay. I got another question for Brent. This is
let's do it.
This is might be a little bit on the deeper side for you. You are
a guy. I can take it.
Well, you're a father, dude. And I love your Star Wars content, but seeing you share Star Wars with your child is so dang cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all three of us are adults and we all have toys. Like, wait, maybe too many toys for Star Wars toys for an adult, but like sharing that with your child is extremely cool. My question for you is there a father figure in Star Wars that you resonate with the most?
That's gotta make me think for a bit. Let's see. A father figure that I resonate with the most. My mind goes to the Mando with Grogu, but that's not really fathering. Oh man. I mean, I would probably say Obi-Wan, even though he's not a father, okay? But the way he interacts with Leia, the way he's constantly looking over Luke in the Obi-Wan series, and even the way he treats Anakin in the prequels, I admire the heck out of Obi-Wan, and I think he's got great fatherly qualities. And we even see that with Luke, even in A New Hope. You know, he's trying to teach, inspire. So I think the fact that Obi-Wan has been through so much and still maintains his integrity says a lot about him, and that's something I resonate with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, that's who in my head, if I had to pick a father figure. I do not have a child, but knowing what, like you said, of what Obi-Wan has had to endure, we made a joke when we ranked some of the Jedi on Mortis FM with Cole, talking about how Obi-Wan probably gets the worst end of the stick out of every character in Star Wars. Like, he is constantly getting the short end of the stick, and he just has to keep persevering, and he does the entirety of the time that we know of Obi-Wan in canon, and that's extremely cool. So
I mean,
I love that.
One of my favorite, one of your favorite lines as well, and I'm sure one of yours, Brent, is the "always get back up" in from Luke in Book of Boba Fett. And I like to think, Luke probably got that from, maybe he didn't know all the stories, but he definitely got a little bit of that from Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Like, because if there was anybody who kept getting back up, it was Obi-Wan freaking Kenobi, dude. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
truly, like,
absolutely.
just blow after blow after blow, keeps getting back up and just bodying these Sith Lords, man. I mean, like, it's just, it ain't nothing to him.
Yeah.
That's a great choice.
Yeah, I dig that.
You're a big lightsaber man like myself. I want you to give me your top 3 lightsabers of all time, and you could feel free to explain and elaborate as much as you would like. I'm sure you have a top 3 or some of your favorites.
Top 3. My first one is Stellan Gios from the High Republic.
Ooh,
Whoa, sick.
I think it is just beautiful, that crossguard action going on, the intricate design. It's a work of art, as well as a weapon that can be used to defend peace in the galaxy. So,
bro, you could make an
one.
immaculate Stellan Gios cosplay. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, you just look like you take your glasses off, you are him.
Whoa, dude.
Thank you. I might have to try that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like you should.
Yeah, I might do that actually now. I'll add that to the cost list. That's great. And then 2 would have to probably be Chimeras, just because it is that split in 2, unique action. Haven't seen anything like that before. I think that's amazing. And then 3, I'm like imagining my saber wall from my house right now, trying to like look at them mentally. Jeez. I think Anakin's, just because I used to not like his, but after like actually holding it in my hand and like having it, I'm like, this has been through so much. Like, we see it almost in in all 3 trilogies of like the prequels, sequels, and the OT. So
it is the saber.
It's the saber.
Yeah. Is there one that you absolutely love that you have not added to your a fine edition that has not been added to your collection? Like, what's like a holy grail for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. What have I not gotten yet that I love?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's probably harder for him to go through the mental inventory of every saber he has
than the ones I don't have.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on in my mind right now, just so you guys know, is like a fast-paced flash through every single scene of Star Wars. Because I'm trying to like saber. I would probably have to say that the one that I don't have that I really want to add to my collection is a Cal Kestis, like regular hilt.
I got one right there, and it's.
I love Cal. I think his character is great. I just recently got like the cross guards, like the big beastie one.
Big boy.
But the regular one is. I would love to have that one, just because I'm obsessed over the video games.
Dude, it's such a good design, and the games, the Fallen Order Survivor and Untitled Jedi 3, some of my favorite new stories we've gotten in Star Wars. I saw your Cal pink poncho cosplay at Star Wars Night. The video that you had of you on the grooved walls,
running on the walls.
I was like, I've thought about that every single time I've Rogue Smugglers run.
I finally was like, I gotta do this, guys. Film this. I gotta do this.
Just like Cal Kestis, so
Yeah.
good, dude.
Awesome.
That is a great underrated top 3 in my opinion, because I feel
Yeah,
like
dude.
mine are so basic. So like,
Hey, every saber is beautiful. Every saber
Oh, yeah.
is important. So any 3 is great.
another question that I like, because Will and I are like live very vicariously through you and other creators. Like, give me your craziest or most surreal premiere experience.
Yeah, no problem. I've only been to 2 so far. Hopefully more on the way. Swingman. But the first one was Skeleton Crew, and that was last November. And then the second one was the Andor season 2 kind of launch event. Both of them were super amazing. Skeleton Crew was so unique and my favorite one just because like it was my first one, right? And I loved Skeleton Crew so much, and being able to sit there and it was in Disneyland too, as opposed to El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, where that Andor one and most premieres take place. So being in like the Tomorrowland Theater for Skeleton Crew was so amazing, and being able to sit in that little theater with just nerds, Star Wars nerds of my kinfolk, you know, and watching the first 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew, we're all hyped, we're all feeding off each other's energy, just an amazing atmosphere to be in that I can't replicate. That was just so amazing. And then hanging out with all the other fans and other, everyone there afterwards, getting the parks and things like that, like just hanging out in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and being around like Dave Filoni's over there, like his hat. There's the man next to the giant SM-33 mannequin thing, and talking with Swagman and other creators, and seeing the kid actors in Skeleton Crew. Like this whole thing was just like is this real? Like, how am I here? Like, pinch me? I don't know. I don't know how I got here. Like, I'm just this little guy, Like, all these people are like big actors and creators and stuff. So, I would say that would be my favorite one.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when they did the Skeleton Crew premiere, and like it was like they had the SM-33 out in front of the Falcon and everything. I was like, dude, that's like so cool that they did that, like as like a differentiation. Yeah, I think I probably would have a heart attack, to be honest. Like, I think
I'm surprised I didn't. Yeah.
That's super cool. When you first got like the invite to be like that, you were going to the premiere, like what was your reaction?
There's like a pro and con to it, right? So the timing of it was a con, okay?
Okay.
Because our son had just been born 5 days previous to the premiere.
Okay.
Whoa.
Luckily, I have really good supportive family and in-laws that were there to help out with the baby and with Julia, my wife. But otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to go, and because I would have to be home, taking care, helping out with that. And so the fact that I was able to go is a big applause and like gratitude to my wife in general. Hey, you've got a 5-day-old baby, and I'm gone, for like a day or 2, which is I miss the kid. I miss seeing him, and it was crazy to be gone like that. And hindsight, maybe, was it the best idea for me to do that? Probably not. And I definitely tried to make up for being gone like that so soon. It was not my best moment, I think, but it was worthwhile. And they were like, you got to do this. When are you going to do this again?
Yeah.
So the timing was the negative part, I would say. But yeah. What was the first part? What was the question? I got lost in that.
I was like, when you, I guess despite the timing and everything,
yeah.
Like when you got the email or DM or whatever,
was like,
hey, can you come?
I was just beyond. I was like, no way. Like my immediate reaction was like, oh my gosh, yes. I can't believe this is real. Is this real? No way. Is this account real? Oh yeah, 7.4 million followers. Okay, I think this is real. Okay. Something you got to get scammed sometimes. Like you never really know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like there's no way. There's no way that this is real for me. Who am I? I'm not big. Like,
yeah. Bro, don't. Yeah, you belittle yourself. This guy. When you and Will, I know you wanted to transition into some Skeleton Crew talking points as well. With you just having your child, was there any type of like emotional resonance that you had with Skeleton Crew, especially like with them being such young kids and there being such a tie between like parental figures and like the longing that they have for their missing children? Like, did that connect you in a special way?
Oh, it did for sure. First of all, I was like, Wim's dad, treat your kid better. First of all, and then second off, I was just like, this is a family thing. and I cannot wait to be able to experience some more Star Wars with my kid, later on when he's, more conscious.
Yeah, when he's not 6 months old. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. It's funny you mentioned that. Do you already know the first Star Wars that, like, when your son is like, "Hey, Dad," it's like, "Can I watch Star Wars with you?" I know he's probably like being held as Empire Strikes Back is on in the TV anyway.
Literally today. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
Crazy.
but like, but is there like a project where you're going to be like, okay, the official sit down of like what the first one will be?
Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
That's going to be his first. That was my first. It's going to be his first, and we're going to bond over a little Annie.
the Phantom Menace is has a special place in our hearts here on Determined Focus because literally that one quote from Qui-Gon Jinn is the entire basis for this entire podcast, dude. Always remember your focus
Okay,
determines
but
reality.
that quote, getting that again in Skeleton Crew. Do you
I
remember
know.
that? Remember that? That moment when John said, "I'm like, okay, he knew Qui-Gon, or at least knew his training." Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's-
That's a crazy tribute. Right
When
there.
that happened in that episode, I was immediately like, Will.
Yeah,
It's like,
I believe it.
that-
I believe it.
that's crazy. Dude.
that is the not only my favorite quote in all of Star Wars, but the message with that your focus determines reality is, in my opinion, the truest and the most applicable lesson in all of Star Wars.
And in real life, the way it can just
Yeah,
I love that too.
it's phenomenal. Well, we've been doing a lot of deep conversating. Grayson, you want to do a fun one?
This is where the fun begins. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
there it is. There it is.
Absolutely. Let them pass between us. All right. So this is going to be a kind of like this or that power scaling. So I'm going to start with two
Okay.
characters, and then you're going to pick one, and then it'll kind of it'll be a king in the hill sort of thing.
Yep.
So coming hot off the heels of Tales of the Underworld, the
Mhm.
first matchup, Cad Bane versus Asajj Ventress.
Asajj.
Okay.
Asajj Ventress.
Asajj versus Cal Kestis.
Oh, I'm so biased to Cal, but I don't think he's surviving Massage. Sorry. So,
Really? Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay. Ventress versus Boba Fett.
Ventress.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
Well, this one's okay. Ventress versus Han Solo.
No, Asajj.
Ventress versus Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan.
Okay. Obi-Wan versus Ahsoka Tano.
Ahsoka.
Okay. Ahsoka versus Moff Gideon.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. This is my Ahsoka versus Turgle.
This is a big deal, Brent. People are going to be mad about this one.
I'm gonna get canceled for this one, right?
The biggest confidant to Luthen Rail. Turgle.
That is so funny. I'm just seeing him literally like the turtle, like the just like the eyes.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
he's not lasting against. No, he's not. He's not lasting. He's out.
Okay. Ahsoka versus Chewbacca.
It depends on how distracted Ahsoka is, but because that crossbow is punching, it packs a punch. But yeah, on fighting grounds, Ahsoka is gonna win.
Okay. Ahsoka versus Luke Skywalker.
I would say Luke in his prime.
Will, are you holding yourself back right now?
No, anytime
I know what you're thinking about right now.
this is, you have one after this, right?
I have three more.
Okay, keep going.
Well, this is kind of sad. Luke Skywalker versus R2D2.
Oh
man.
that's so hard. I could see R2 just putting his whole effort into a fight right now, like.
Dude, he's just
crazy.
just going insane. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
you still
I
going Luke,
I kind of am leaning towards just for the fun of it. Let's just say R2. Like he's winning.
It's like a Home Alone situation, you know, or it's like it's like, oh my gosh.
All right, who's
All right.
R2 fighting next? Let's just go with it.
The Mandalorian.
Interesting. That's a fun one. But okay.
Din Djarin versus R2D2.
what if? It makes me think of like the Doc Aftra, whatever.
Doctor. Oh yeah, you're talking about BT1.
And like the murder droid.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna say R2 again. Let's do R2. Din Djarin, you're not surviving an R2D2 attack.
That's crazy.
Well, the final
This is not
matchup
real.
is R2D2 versus Kylo Ren.
Well, Kylo's too emotional, so R2's winning.
Wow, and R2D2 is our winner, ladies and
R2's the
gentlemen.
GOAT.
R2D2 is like technically Kylo Ren's uncle. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, right?
It's like his great uncle.
That's just so hard to do because, like, you don't want any of these guys to like fight each other, obviously, and they would never. That's a funny game, though. I like it.
No, that's
Um,
good.
Even though I'm causing Will to have some grief over there.
No. Actually, my issue is when it's Luke versus Ahsoka. Those are my two favorite characters in all of Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And they are both extremely similar, and they both mean so much to me as characters
Mhm.
that literally every 30 seconds, if somebody was to ask me that, I would have a different answer. It would be if coin flip. I'd be like, probably Luke, probably Ahsoka. Like, show me one TikTok edit of Ahsoka and her story, and I'd be like, yeah, Ahsoka's the greatest character of all time. And then you do the same thing with Luke, and I'm like, yeah. Luke Skywalker. Like, I'll get another Luke Skywalker tattoo. Like, they both mean so much to me. I cannot wait for Ahsoka season 2. Like,
I'm with you there.
Ahsoka, and I will continue to say this. I love Luke Skywalker. He is my favorite Star Wars character. When all is said and done, depending on how her story ends, which it's Dave and he's had it planned for a million years, so I'm only assuming it's going to make me bawl my eyes out no matter how it ends.
Yeah.
Because honestly, anything that gets added to Ahsoka's story, I'm like in tears already. When all is said and done, Ahsoka Tano might have the greatest story in Star Wars from front to back.
Love that, and the fact that her character had so much flack at the start is just phenomenal to me. That it's still like that's the thing because I love her character so much, and she's such a treasure to Star Wars. Like, you can't have the Clone Wars without her, and Rebels is just so much more enhanced because of her, and love the character.
Any Ahsoka Tano moment I think of, I'm like, that's perfect Star Wars. Like there are very, very few Ahsoka Tano moments that don't rank in like the highest of highs in terms of Star Wars moments for me. Like, and everything that she does in terms of like the way she conversates, all of her lines, like she was a teenager spitting so much knowledge about like interpersonal government politics, like, and she's teaching younglings. Like, she is leaps and bounds ahead of so many other Star Wars characters, and it's all because of her morals. And Dave Filoni, you are, and I'm saying this on the heels of getting the Dave Filoni Trapper Wolf figure.
Oh yeah.
So stoked to have that now. The Black Series Dave Filoni
get
Trapper
it signed
Wolf,
like Jon Favreau does.
Yeah, I gotta find him on stage at Celebration and throw it at him. That's the only way I can get him to sign it. Like they did 2 years ago at Celebration. I cannot thank him enough for Ahsoka Tano and Ahsoka season 2. Look, I cannot wait for Maul Shadow Lord, but Ahsoka season 2, like, that is going to be. I can't wait to get.
That's like circle on my calendar. Like, this is Ahsoka. Like, I can't.
That's a take the day off of work. I'm going to watch that. Yeah, the day before and the day after, so I can just watch it over and over again after it premieres. Like, I cannot wait.
The first 2 episodes when Ahsoka dropped, like the excitement I had for that show of like it felt like it felt like a love letter to me, bro. Where I was like, okay, we've got a continuation of Rebels, but it's post Return of the Jedi, which is like my favorite era in Star Wars because like I've got like a Dark Forces. I'm like a huge like that was like my jam. And then we've got these like Thrawn is coming back, but we've got these bad guys, but they're not Sith. They've got like the slightly off red lightsabers, you know, like it's like prime like dark, like straight up dark Jedi. We're going back to Lothal. I'm like, this is insane. This is peak. And then like getting those first 2 episodes, I was like, just ascending. I was like, we are so back. Like, this is
so
insane.
good.
I cannot wait. Everything that we heard from Celebration just sounds, my gosh. I mean, listen, my username is MortisFM. I'm hyped.
I can only imagine how hyped you are.
Like it's astronomical. Despite Ahsoka not calling herself a Jedi, like she's one of the like greatest Jedi of all time, you know? Dave Filoni just keeps making the greatest Jedis of all time. Kanan Jarrus and Ahsoka, what up?
Dude should be wearing a chef hat at all times.
Will, I have a couple more questions before we wrap up. What is the most underrated scene in Star Wars to you?
The most underrated scene in Star Wars.
I'm very happy you did not ask me that because oh my gosh.
Yeah, what's like a scene that you're like you're going through the movies or the shows and you're like, man, people just don't talk enough about how good this scene is, you know? Because there's
Yeah.
so many that we talk about as Star Wars fans of being just iconic. But
That's like I'm trying to think because what the media that I've recently watched and stuff that I haven't seen in such a long time.
mhm.
Us as Star Wars fans have the unique ability to nitpick and
Uh,
dive into lore with like literally 2-second clips of just something random. you
Yep.
know?
yeah,
And so it's hard to narrow something into like, oh, this is the most underrated thing ever.
yeah.
But oh my goodness. It's like some small moments where someone's handing something else to somebody else, like someone's
Sure.
handing like a paper or sending,
Honestly, all of Andor season 2 is like all
like the
Dude,
little
like-
moments
like-
like that.
all of Rogue One is literally based on a small moment, a footnote in the crawl of A New Hope. So like,
I'll
Gosh.
give 3 off the hip to maybe give you some inspiration. My number one most underrated scene of all time is the cave scene in Empire Strikes Back. I think it is masterful. I don't think people talk about it enough. I think it's so cool. It's so quintessentially weird. Speaking of Dave Filoni, he talks about how like he loves how weird Star Wars gets.
yeah,
And like that scene is just so creatively inspired and hints so much about not only Luke's character, but obviously the true nature of who he is. And then 2 other ones, which are very, very big parallels of one another in a weird way. Empire Strikes Back, when Luke and Han, like Luke is about to go out into the Battle of Hoth. There's a moment between Luke and Han after he's healed, and it's not even, it's barely a conversation. They don't even talk that much, but he's just like, "Hey kid, be careful," and it's like, they don't even say anything to each other, but he's like, "You too." That's the last time they see each other for an entire year.
Yep.
Because he gets
Oh yeah,
frozen in
because he gets
carbonite.
frozen in carbonite and everything.
Yeah. And
I
then-
think keep going. Use the third one.
Oh, and the last one was when Anakin and Obi-Wan say goodbye to each other before Obi-Wan goes to
Ugh.
fight Grievous, and it's the
Oh my
last time they
gosh.
see each other as brothers, But
Yeah.
So there's some inspiration for you.
I
Goodbye,
love
old
that.
friend.
I know that part right there. If I had to choose one, it could be that, just because
Yeah.
I mean, me loving Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yeah.
and then just that little goodbye old friend kind of thing. That,
Dude. So
but
good.
then I also like watching today of Empire Strikes Back. Like there's this, it's a silly little thing, but like being in that character of the Imperial officer that is right in Vader's face as soon as Vader's like looking outside the viewport, and he's like, "Admiral, prepare my ship," and he turns around and the guy's like, Vader's like, "Whoa!" right there in his face. Like I rewind that. I was like, babe, watch this moment right here. Vader's like, "Brr," and then
Dude,
Empire,
that reminds me of a moment I always laugh at in the best possible way. Because, like, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a Rise of Skywalker defender. I kind of love that movie. I
I'm
won't
with you
lie.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It gets too much heat. There's a moment when they're on the like ocean moon of or whatever, where I think it's like
The Death Star was like in the water. Yeah.
yeah. And when Rey is getting the Wayfinder, I almost tripped on my words there. I almost said when Way is getting the Wayfinder. But when Kylo shows up and like
After Rey's like, "Give it to me."
yeah,
Give it to me.
yeah, she says something and he does this like he got like this kind of like jump back, like just he looks so offended. And then there's like when she wants to fight him, he just kind of like he just he's like, "Dude, I'm so tired of fighting," which is such an interesting dynamic, especially
Mhm.
with him being like dark side and her being light side. I mean, truly comes down to the parallel of like when she stabs him with the cross guard of like she's the one that's fully out of balance, whereas Kylo in that moment is like fully.
What
just,
a unique perspective. I can understand. I've never heard that before, but I respect that. Yeah.
It's cool. People. I also love that like there's like no music in that fight at all.
Yeah.
Like, I used to kind of
True.
not like that, but it's like it's this crux where it's like it doesn't feel like this is this duel of the fates moment. It's just
Mhm.
like it's just this very intense personal moment. The last thing that I want to ask, and it's
'Kay.
obviously something very, very in line with you have a passion that you have. You are clearly very much a lover of not just lightsabers but of helmets. What was the journey like getting into that, like with the 3D printing and then
Mhm.
finally like getting into the craftsmanship? Like you have such a unique talent for that. I'd love to hear that kind of story.
I appreciate that. I'd love to talk about it. So yeah, this started back like 3 years ago, I want to say. I got my first 3D printer and I was like, oh, I can make so many fun things. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make like accessories for the home and like little knickknacks here and there. And then I subscribed to a Patreon for 3D modeling people, and I was like, there goes my entire life right here. And so my first print I ever did was a Mandalorian helmet, and it was too small. And so I was like, well, dang it, I guess this is going away. For me, I wanted to dive into that, right? Because this is like just when I was starting to get on my Star Wars high and my obsession. This is when I started making all my Star Wars content and having so much fun with it. And I was like, why did I ever not do this before? Like, I wish I would have started sooner. But I find so much joy in bringing some of this Star Wars stuff to life for me, right? And having something like palpable that I can like see and interact with and just have fun creating with, because I love creating. I'm a big advocate for like finding joy in little things, and for me, I have a stressful life, and so creating and doing things like that is like an outlet for me. Star Wars has always been my outlet, and so this is just another way to really enhance that and help me escape from the mundane, from the just like stressful life. Is putting work into making these helmets and just creating, it's just something that brings me so much joy. And then you have this finished product that you're really proud of and I can have in your room and make an awesome display and everything. And so that's where it all started. And now I'm just kind of having this point in my life where I'm like, I literally have no more room for any more helmets, let alone droids. I made a pit droid, and I'm like, I have the files for a battle droid, for SN33, for K2SO, and I'm like, I need them all to be in my room. I need a 6'7" battle droid to stand behind me at all times.
Yeah.
I need K2SO in the corner of my closet and things like that. I just don't have room for it, but I'd love to do that.
Dude,
and if I could just add a little bit more, like by profession, I'm an architect in design. And so I love designing things and having like building things.
That makes perfect sense. I had a feeling you might have been something with like architecture, engineering, so that like fits right in with all of that. If you had, since you're kind of transitioning more into droids and things, what is a favorite helmet of yours that you have that you're like, I will never part with this helmet?
Probably Chimeras, just because that's what got me on Star Wars, is on Swagman's radar. It's me showing off that, and I loved the character. It's my most accurate, my best work is this Chimera helmet, and I just have so much fun with it. So I'm never getting rid of that thing.
Yeah, so. Dude, I bought it, but I've got mine right there. It is such a unique and thick and terrifying design. So that's so cool that you fully just printed that and like did that yourself. We're gonna do another blind ranking, Brent. This one
good, because I'm actually blind in one eye. This is fine.
So this is going to be a random slew of just Star Wars projects. All right, first one. You said you're a big Rebels guy. Where are you putting Rebels 1 through 5?
Considering everything else is out there, I'm just trying to think what would top Rebels for me. Nothing. That's 1.
Dude.
Oh, my man, dude. Skeleton Crew.
I'll put that at 3. I will put that at 3. Right there in the middle.
Good.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi.
Wicked's too cute to leave him at 5, so that'll be 4.
4. Okay. Return of the Jedi at 4.
No, it's okay. It's my number 1, so it's fine.
I'm gonna throw you a 2 wild cards here. Attack of the Clones.
Ooh, I'm gonna put that at number 2.
Whoa, the gory comics shirt. That leaves at number 5, The Force Awakens.
Okay, that's 5. That'll be 5 for me.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. I like that ranking a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I like, man, Attack of the Clones fan over here. Big Attack of the Clones
Episode
guy?
2 at number 2. Love it.
I mean, makes sense.
This is a question that I ask a lot of content creators and a lot of Star Wars fans. It's a simple question, but it might take a long time to answer for you unless you've got a super easy answer. Why do you love Star Wars?
I think I'll just dive right into that. I kind of hinted at it earlier, but it is my escape. Okay. I live a very busy life, and I've had a lot of stuff I've gone through, right? And for me, Star Wars has always been something that is an escape. It's like that happy place, whether I'm on the lake side of Lake Como, I'm on Naboo, or I'm just watching other people have some battles and how they're overcoming them, like Obi-Wan. It's always been this thing that has inspired me to be better myself, to have fun, to learn from. That's why I am always and so into Star Wars, is because of that. It is my escape from reality. It is something that I can always turn to and never have a bad time, if that makes any sense.
Makes perfect sense. That's exactly, I asked that question, and then I will say there's no wrong answer to that. But I will say that was the right answer. there you go. So appreciate you.
There was a little thing on there, which I mean, obviously, tagline of our show, but you said it's your escape from your reality, and one could say that it is your focus that determines that reality. So that is a very beautiful answer. I love hearing everybody's different answers on why they love Star Wars, and I think almost everyone, I would be hard pressed not to find someone that would agree with that. So that's beautiful.
Dude, Brent, we are a little over an hour here. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this, to talk about Star Wars. I know getting you to talk about Star Wars is not something hard to do.
You don't gotta pull my leg. All right,
Yeah.
I'll talk about it all the time.
But I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us a little bit and to do this as the first official guest of this version of Determined Focus. Appreciate you being here. If you are not already, which you probably are, go follow Brent on Instagram. Go sub to him on YouTube. Everything is at Nerdy Brent, correct?
Yeah, that's easy enough right there.
Okay, perfect. Brent, before we go, thank you so much for being a positive and fun and entertaining member of the Star Wars community. Following you over the dude, seriously, I mean, following you over the amount of time that you've started to make Star Wars content and rightfully blown up because of it. It's super fun to see and super fun to watch. So we love seeing you win, dude, and we appreciate you. So thank you for being here. We're done. May the Force be with you always. Thank you so much for being here. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit like as well as subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. May the Force be with you always. And your focus determines your reality. Bye-bye.
Always remember.